do you believe out-of-towners are specifically being targeted, or do you just believe that out-of-towners are just making more mistakes than what like somebody who lives here would make?
I think out of towners are coming here. Well, first of all, this is not new. Google the Rolex bandit that were robbing rappers back in the 80s. Mike Tyson them was around. Ask Kid and Play when they got robbed. This is nothing new. It's just that it's more where you can see it at a higher level, audio, video, or print, because of the internet and stuff of this nature, where it's magnified 10 times more than what it is. When there's been a long history, when the drug came out in the 80s, what you think they were saying in LA? Death to the high roller. In fact, look on my chain and you'll see where it's written in diamonds, death to the high roller. So it's always been a town to where the rich gravitate to the inner city. Because what happens, they come into this game, rappers, actors, entertainers, and they go and they meeting white folks in Beverly Hills, Woodland Hills, San Fernando, but they want a touch of that blackness. You're talking about not just rappers, actors, and entertainers that go across the spectrum. Baseball players, football players, basketball players. It's particularly now to where most black athletes come out the inner city, and they might not be gang members, or gang bangers, those that are active, but they're sympathizers and understand the plights and what they overcame to get out, and they represent that. I know a gang of professional athletes, rappers, that claim gangs. So when we hear people talk about name a successful gang member, it ain't none, that's not true. Y'all just don't know who they are because you're not in that world. And then you'll try to speak on things that you have no vested interest in other than looking from the inside of a frame. How you gonna look at a picture if you in the frame? I'm not in the frame. I'm looking at the picture from the outside in. And that's when you hear these 180 conversations to where you see all these podcasts like I'm sitting here where nobody oppose what they say when they tell their story. So also we need to be held accountable for the contents that are being said on this internet and the things that are being said, and the people that allow them to say this to be held accountable. Maybe they need to start putting out disclaimers that certain things that people say may not be true.
You mentioned athletes claiming gangs. How big is that?
Well, let me tell you how big it is with anybody. See, y'all put titles on stuff. I don't look at titles. When I hear about murder, I just look to see if that person's civil rights were violated. That's it, that's all. So when you're talking about money, it could be a dangerous game. It just depends. You don't think when these rappers that are street credible, running with the streets, claiming the streets, and they get millions of dollars, they gonna just not support the streets and turn their cheek when they say, here go $200,000, do what you want to do. And it's an unfair balance, particularly in the rap game, to where you got certain organizations. We ain't gonna say Bloods and Crips, we gonna say Hatfields and McCoys. That way people get a clear understanding of the parting of the Red Sea in this game. So you don't think these guys with money are not giving back to what they're claiming. Now what they do with it, whether it's be for financial gain, illicit financial gain, or whether it's done to give back to the community, who knows? But it's a dangerous game, whether it come to intervention and prevention. Anytime you have money involved in corruption to where people could get killed over just you paying money behind them or something like that, that's a dangerous game.
Ice-T came out. He kind of had some things that were a little controversial that he said, and he kind of said that a lot of people don't wear jewelry, or a lot of dudes who are from LA don't wear jewelry, and he's kind of tired of explaining LA politics and gangbang politics to people. Did you check that out? Did you see it?
I don't look at the internet because I pretty much know everybody that's participating on the internet, that talk on the internet, and because I have relationships with everybody, I don't look at the internet, so I have an unfiltered view when I meet them, to where like Ayatollah Marvin and Whack 100 getting into it, or Bones that played in the movie back in the day, Training Day. These are Bones is like a brother to me, but he's also a defendant or a plaintiff in the Suge Knight case. Ayatollah Marvin is involved in it. So it's a delicate balance with me. So I avoid the internet. I haven't looked at it for a year, and that keeps me neutral, to where I keep my relationship, to where I don't want to hear no gossip about nobody. It's kind of like when Puff Daddy said, I'm working.
Right. A lot of people talk about checking in. It seems to be like a real important thing if you kind of want to stay safe. They say check in, or you know, tap in with somebody. What I'm saying, from LA, just to make sure you're good, or maybe they'll have some dudes. What I'm saying, come roll with you, just to hang out with you, just to kind of, that way if you got somebody that's reputable with you, what I'm saying, and you're a little more safe.
Well, that's anywhere, but particularly in Los Angeles. Joey Badass, he don't check in with me, but whenever Joey Badass come here, he calls me and say, hey, I got you on deck, come on. And I move with him. Fabio Foreign, I move with him. When the issue with Snoop Badass signing with Death Row, I get a call from him, Reggie Wright, and stuff of this nature. So it ain't the term, I think, which is offensive, is the term checking in, to where I think that sets a man up to where he'll swallow everything but his pride to stay alive, and he's gonna want to test that, to where it makes it seem like you telling me I got to come to you because I come to LA, when in fact it could be anywhere across the United States. Me, myself, personally, I'm going to come to that city. I'm going to know somebody from that city that know the terrain, and I'm going to let them lead the way, as opposed to me just trying to go and be disrespectful and thinking I'm king shit at Turd Island. I'm not going to do that. So it's not just Los Angeles. It's always they trying to target California, Los Angeles, talk about their culture, when everybody in the world or the United States emulate what Los Angeles and California started, then gonna dictate for something that we didn't ask them to get involved with what we doing. They have no say-so in what we doing, but everything out their mouth is California. But nobody's really been there to know the terrain or know the history to speak on it. They can speak on their city. I get calls and inboxes all over America. Hey, homie, we moving like this out here. We like your movement. But I tell them, don't do what California do. Be your own man. You 30, 20 years behind the game in LA. You never could speed up because what we doing. Because the distance of time to where everybody in LA over 50-year span are strangers. To whereas you ganging in these other cities that only got 20 years in, these kids still know each other and can't understand. Why should I have to shoot myself for something that's going on in California? That's the dumbest shit I heard. But that's how it is. But don't blame California for shit y'all seen on the movies and then try to emulate colors and everything and then make you think, oh, that's how gang banging go. Then you come out here to get a taste of it and see this shit ain't really what it seemed to be. That's the problem. It's a reality check, and then your dreams are shattered.